Are your opinions holding you back? Discover the power of detaching from your viewpoints to unlock deeper connections, meaningful conversations, and transformative growth. Do you know that there are over 8 billion points of view? And most of those points of view think that they are right all the time. Fortunately, we are not our points of view. We are just having points of view. And this will have a powerful impact in your life. I was once in a meeting with high-level management, and there was a pretty big breakdown. And our boss asked us to reflect as to what we were causing in this breakdown. I said, could it be that we don't like each other because we're having opposing points of view have a factor in this? You see, when we think that we are our points of view rather than having points of view, it has a huge impact on the meaning that we can have in meetings, discussions, and conversations. Understanding points of view. Points of view are shaped by experiences, beliefs, and identities from the past. Things that we have agreed to, lines in the sand. And many times these things that we have agreed to, we have made into an identity. That is who we consider ourselves to be. So when somebody has a different point of view, we actually look at it as a confrontation from who we are through what we've decided and the identity that we have actually put into it. And identifying too closely with a viewpoint leads to defensiveness. I'm sure that you've all had experiences with this. But when you start to see that you are having points of view, you're having points of view rather than being those points of view, you can start to open up a more powerful conversation where there's more inclusion and you have other possibilities that you can step into rather than the point of view that you're confined by and this way or the highway type of mentality. This mindset of being confined to your points of view hinders meaningful dialogue and collaboration. But once you see that you're having points of view, you can start to open up dialogue and collaboration to move forward. It's an illusion, these points of view. We have, as I mentioned a moment ago, made these into an identity. Points of view are not our true selves. They're just lines in the sand. I am white or black or gay or straight or Republican or Democrat. God forbid, a Yankees fan. These are all just temporary lenses of things that we've agreed to. It's not bad to have these different points of view. Not at all. It's wonderful. It's one of the things that creates diversity and real power in this world that we live in. But essentially, they are not who we are. We are so much bigger than these lines in the sand, and we have unlimited possibilities and opportunities that we can tap into, and we don't need to be so stuck in these temporary lenses of these identities that we have created. Identifying with perspectives creates a false a false sense of self. Let's say, I am not good enough. That's a good one. A lot of people are coming from this imposter syndrome. I am not good enough. And you know, when you start to create that you are not good enough, all of these things come into place that are telling you that you are not good enough. You start to have chronic thinking, which is arising from defending these perspectives. No doubt all of you have seen a person, for example, that says, well, I'm not loved. You may try to give them all the love in the world, but they still feel that they're not receiving any love because they have decided that they're not loved. So when we identify with the perspectives, we start to perpetuate that and we create a chronic thinking around it. When we start to step outside of these points of view and see that we're having these points of view, we can overcome them, we can disappear them, and we can create new and powerful possibilities. So what we need to do is to shift to a collaborative mindset with ourselves and with others also. One thing that we can do is to practice awareness, to detach from our points of view. Oh, I'm having a point of view. We can even bullet point, say, oh, that's a point of view. See that these are points of view. They are not who we are. We are just having these points of view. Another practice that we can do, which is very effective, is to speak authentically. Most of the time when we're speaking, we're coming from our previous decisions, agreements, and what we've already made up to be true. See what you can do to talk in the present moment. What's occurring for me in my experience is that I am feeling that there needs to be better communication or that we should not have to work too hard. Just make it a present conversation without going to the past. And then you can speak from your authenticity and you can have a conversation that is inclusive and other people can participate in the conversation with you. And adopt this curiosity to really hear what other people are saying, not just yourself thinking about what they're saying, but to really hear them from the energy that they're coming from. Ask open-ended questions. Understand why people think the way that they think. Just kind of like you're putting your head up to their head and you're saying, well, how is is it that you're looking at things from the way that you're seeing things? This opens up a broad perspective in which you can create powerful possibilities in your family, in your friendships, or in your work. Create a psychological safety for people to open up. Sometimes if we're in a higher position, we have a tendency to push people down when they share points of view, as we think that they're opposing who we consider ourselves to be because of our points of view. But once we come from understanding that we're not our points of view, we can openly hear people, oh, they're having a point of view, and oh, that's a very interesting point of view. And you don't have to have this idea that you need to stop people from having points of view. You can actually embrace other points of view. So letting go of our chronic thinking. This is very, very powerful. Practice mindfulness. This is the same thing as seeing that you're having points of view. Observe thoughts without attachment. It's kind of like watching a movie rather than being the drama character in the movie, or having a stream of thoughts and stepping outside of that stream of thoughts and just watching. Observe the thoughts. Oh, I want to say my point of view right now. Oh, I'm feeling that I have to be right. And just watch as they occur. Don't put meaning into them. They're just happening. You don't need to put all the thinking into them. And this presents an opening with everybody else that's in the conversation also. So view differing points of view as opportunities. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Why is that? Because of relationships. As you build connections and relationships and you hear different points of view, you expand the opportunities of not just you winning in your box where you're confined in your points of view, but everybody winning powerfully. And when everybody's winning powerfully, they want you to win also. And that team of people, that group has your back. And this creates a very powerful this relationship, extremely powerful, and it is greater than the sum of its parts. So visualize success. Envision the benefits of embracing multiple perspectives. This is actually a beautiful thing. You know, when you're going to get something done, having people look at things from a different perspective offers greater power to whatever it is that you're accomplishing. For example, I'm not real good at the details, but sometimes I can see the whole picture better. But fortunately, I have people that are working with me to allow me to see the details. So when somebody is looking at things that you don't really want to look at and they point things out, there's no need to be affronted by it. It's actually bringing you more powerful. Multiple perspectives allow whatever it is that you're creating, your family, your friendships, and your work environment to create very powerfully. Transform people's points of view through presence. This is very important. Take some deep breaths. Get yourself present. Acknowledge people's points of view. Acknowledge people's points of view as they share, well, I'm having this point of view. Say, well, that's a very interesting point of view. Just by saying that, they see that they are having a point of view, and it brings some of the identification out of it, and they can feel it's just something that is occurring in this present moment. Also, bring presence into the story of the points of view. As I mentioned to you before, our points of view are coming from our past decisions and our beliefs. So when we bring presence into the story of the points of view, it disrupts it. So if a person is saying, this is what I'm feeling because of X, Y, Z, you can say, oh, I see that you are feeling. And don't put the story into it, but just talk about what it is that they're expressing in that present moment and what is occurring from them, for them. And what is occurring for you? This is another thing that you can say. So what is occurring for you is that you are feeling that you need to be heard. Whatever it is that they're expressing, just repeat it in the present tense as what is occurring in that moment. It removes some of the identity, and you can move forward in the conversation in a way that is more collaborative, more enjoyable, and you have a lot of freedom and possibility in. So in conclusion, letting go of our identification with viewpoints allows deeper conversations. Experience it. This will transform your whole life. When you can come to any conversation with my wife, for example, when I come to a conversation of what is my wife's point of view rather than I have a point of view and I hope that she understands it because this is what we have to do, it's completely different. When I come to my wife and I say, hey, look, what do you think? And I listen to her point of view. Oftentimes she has a much more powerful point of view than I do. And I can be open to it because I'm not so identified from my own point of view. Strive for open dialogue, curiosity, and collective growth. See what's possible. Stand in uncertainty. Discovery. When you're in a conversation not being your points of view, you open curiosity. You open possibilities and opportunities that were not there before. Thanks for listening. I hope that this will impact your life in a very powerful way.